ask you. I know what I gave you. Please tell me what you gave me. Now let me ask you.
Yes, I understand the part they are trying to focus on is that being young, you don't exactly know what you want to get into. So maybe that's why they try giving us all these fields to test what really we want to do in future. But still, they fail in, because if you see countries like China, you really see small kids already start developing a lot of great things that can help the society. I feel like educational system has failed in bringing out creativity in children, and they are trying to they're having this mentality that no, you just want to pass, but there's not really that creativity that they're trying to have in children.
So I agree with you people. If you notice, I did not interrupt or interject at any point because I agree with what you're saying. Usually I'm always on the other side. So that's why I said most of the things, some of the grudges people have the experience, I had the same grudge. That my approach was maybe different, which I think I want to lay down some of my own approach or some of the proposed solutions when we are now mixed with the guys, so that everybody is part of them, have had their own angle of things. But just to add to what Rico was saying, I think the job market, not that it's bad, but it was not built for this era.
Yeah.
So during the colonial period, if you look at history, they were training the, should I call it the elites or the Africans who were supposed to take over from the colonial masters to continue in the process of leading the others for them to be able to exploit the natural resources they wanted from Africa. Even the French and the British system, they have somehow changed their educational system, but we are stuck with that same system. They were teaching us more of general and managerial things. And if you look at most of our should I call it, how do they call it? What we study. The kind of things we study, it's mostly from the angle of the Europeans and the Americans. So when you look at African history, it's almost like there was nothing happening in Africa before the colonial masters.
Yeah.
Then when maybe Nashtiga came or Herwet came, this is where Herwet did, this is what he did. They don't start from the angle of, there was this great chief called Fongalega who was doing this in the village, doing this. Then he came across a white man called Zingraf. It starts from the angle of the white man, almost like it's their perspective looking at us.
African history is basically still about them. It's not our history.
Exactly. So there's that part, and you will not blame them because I'm sure most of the books we started learning with was written by white men.
Yeah.
So we have not taken our own time now to introspect and then say, okay, what do we have to say about this thing? And that's why some of the time I really enjoy doing these things like the podcast, because okay, most people, like, I spend most of my time on YouTube, and the new generations focus a lot on YouTube too. And that's where people learn a lot. Even when you go to YouTube, you see some of these videos about, do you know about Africa or Meet Cameroon? It's either Africans in the diaspora or whites doing it. Why are we not having our own voice to talk about our own struggles and our own system and the things we like?
Sometimes it's really difficult to do that, because I remember when my father was doing, I think, his PhD thesis. To do research in this country, you have to pay. Like, you go to the archives and then you're trying to get information about things that happened in the past, but you still have to pay. Like, excuse you, I'm trying to do something to help our country, but they'll ask you for fines. You will never get certain information for free. So it still goes back to how, I don't know if I'll call it corrupt, or how weird our entire government system is. It's just really bizarre. It's difficult to get information on certain topics, even if you want to write a book explaining about our African history, because my father is a historian. So it's just really, really difficult to get these specificities.